Hello, welcome back. Box1 here. Today we're going to be looking at this set, a pretty cool one from 2023, and this is LEGO Ideas Viking Village. It is set, where's the number? 21343. It comes with 2,103 pieces, being actually one of the biggest sets I've built. Not the biggest, but quite a big one, and it's quite a cool one as well. We're going to first look at the figures, and then we're actually going to split this into sections, because this is kind of modular, and we'll look at them separately. So let's get into the figures first. With figures, I think we should go in order of when they're actually gotten in the set, and the first one you get is the blacksmith, and she has a very cool hammer, which the brick hammer on their insignia, if you read the instructions, that's a little reference to the inside of the instructions, which I might show at the end. I probably will, because it has some cool information in there. But she has some dark red clothing, and she also has a sword, which is pretty cool. She also has this very nice braided hair design, which is very nice. It does have a hole in there, which you'd normally put like a flower or something like that in. But yeah, just a pretty cool looking character. And I think she does have an obverse face as well. No, she doesn't. But she does have that insignia, which you can see a bit better as well. The next figure in this set is actually pretty cool. He's more of an archer, and he has a nice bow and arrow, as well as the what do you call it, quiver on the back. He has some nice printing on his front, and I think that looks quite nice. He doesn't have any arm printing, but he does have some pretty cool, unique face printing. And it does use bull horns for the helmet, which is very nice. And, ooh, he fell. What I was going to say is that he does have some unique back printing, and you can see that by removing the quiver. He is like a deer or some type of animal like that on the back of his little, what do you call that, fur thingy, as well. Yeah, fur thingy. Great. The next figure, the third one, is kind of unique. I think he's either the chief or some type of high-ranking guy, because he has a very cool sword, he has a very cool shield, which you can actually get two of. I'll show you the next one. It's actually in the set. And he has the same type of helmet as the last guy, but not with bull horns. Instead, he uses those little teeth or claw pieces for the top. He also has a Santa face, which is kind of interesting to me. But he has this interesting like spiked armor type thing, and some nice printing, as well as some nice back printing, with kind of like either a hood or just a cloak going over the armor. Probably cloak, given that it's also in the front. The next figure in the set, and the final figure, is this female Viking. A very nice hairpiece. I think it was also seen on Fennec Shand, and it fell again. Goodness. As I was saying, I believe it was also seen on Fennec Shand in black, and it actually looks very good here in this like lighter color, sand color, and tan. Wow, sand color. She has an axe and a very nice shield, very similar to the other shield, just color swapped there, and yeah, she has some pretty cool armor on with some chainmail even, and some nice back printing as well. I bet all these torsos could be very good for building mocks or like what do you call them, custom figures as well. I think they could all work very well for that. But now we can actually get on into this set, and it is quite a big one, and luckily it does split up into sections, three of them actually. You can kind of see the seam here, 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 and here, and yeah. Let's cut them open, which you just, they're actually on bars and then, what do you call them, hinges, so you can just pull them out, and hopefully they'll come off well. And by hinges, I did mean clips. I don't know how to speak, as you may have already noticed. But yeah, you can see how they come apart in sections, and you do build them in sections. So you can actually build it with two other people, if you want to do that, where one person builds one section. It's a pretty cool little thing. So let's look at them, not let's build them. Let's look at them in the order that you build them, being this, this, and then this. Let's go. And the first little thing here is this blacksmith, either shop or just blacksmith thingamabobber. And it's actually pretty cool. It has a nice little tree out front, which is used some of those plant pieces for that. And a little stone path leading up. On the inside, which you can actually take off the roof, which is very nice, like, not an A-frame design, but cool design like that. You can see how that's built by just connecting these on snot bricks, which is pretty cool. But yeah, very nice. The inside of the forge has a shield on the wall, not yet painted. There's also a paintbrush in the actual barrel. There's a barrel here, as you can see, with a pickaxe. There's a hammer. There's another, just I think, rod, and she'd actually hold the paintbrush when you actually are building the figure, but I just have her with the sword. There's a bucket with water down there, the fire, as I said, and there's actually this very cool little feature with the little blowy thing that blows the fire and makes it grow. And if we get on level, you can actually see it a bit better, probably. But when you blow it, it actually goes up a bit. Very cool. And yeah, you may have seen me knock that off. This is the little stone thing, which has a nice little printed thing. There's no stickers in this set. Another great plus of it. Although it doesn't use many printed pieces, none of them that it does use are stickers. It is this little Viking ship with like a serpent or something up there, and it just sits on here. And that's basically it. There is a very cool little like marauder helmet in there for like a Viking, of course, and then this cool little tree on the back. Pretty simple, and this actually just slots on there, and it also uses this piece, which is pretty nice, in white. And we can actually move on now to the second thing you build. I don't know if this would be like some like main hall. I guess it would be. I don't know all the Viking village terms in actual like Viking terms, but it's a pretty cool little thing. You can see the start of a dock here, which does lead into the third thing we'll look at. But it has these two doors on the front that you can open and close. It does use some nice printed pieces for the top, as well as these nice wood ones, which are pretty common, but still cool to get some more. On the side, you do have some windows. This side doesn't have a window, but that's because you'll see how it connects later. Some windows on this side using these Ninjago pieces for the top. And a removable roof, which actually removes the big top part as well, which looks pretty cool. And it does use some golden hot dogs, something I noticed on the box and I thought was pretty cool for that top there. Just a pretty cool, interesting building technique. If you look in the instructions for this set, it does have some pretty cool techniques, and this is one of them, making this house or roof top like this. Now, the inside also alludes to it being like a great hall. It has a main chair in the back with like a chalice and a candle there burning. It has a battle axe, a shield, and a spear on the wall, as well as in the middle, a little fire cooking, which you can put like, I think there's a thing of meat, or there's some fish outside in the third build you can put on the fire. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It uses these cool pieces as well, which I've never seen before, but this is in the set in both gold and then in brown, or what is it, brown, reddish brown, oh, or you can use the chicken there. That's what I was thinking about. And there's another chalice, but in silver this time, or whatever you call that color. On the back, you can see it is continued around with this little water section, and it does use a very cool building technique for this window, putting one of those small like fence piece top pieces that you see on a couple sets on its side, and that's a very cool looking technique there. Very cool techniques in all the set, as I said. There's snot techniques like that, and just some pretty interesting stuff. And this is the third one, which is actually, I think, the biggest out of all of them, or at least it takes up the most space. It's quite nice. I actually quite like the third one. Actually, probably my second favorite module. I quite like the blacksmith one as well. But this was probably my favorite to build. It has on the dock here, which is continued from the other set. You'll see how that actually flows into it on the final thing, where you've seen it before as well. It has some kegs of probably beer or some other drink that the Vikings either stole or, let's be honest, likely stole. And yeah, it's just on a hinge, so it can be right here and it doesn't take up too much space. There is this watchtower here, which you can see. I'm not even saying all the cool little pieces that it uses, like these in white, but it does have some pretty cool parts usage. And you can see where that's another one of those shields, the same one you saw on this character. So you get two of those in the set as well. And there's just a little flag as well. And there is a bridge here, which uses these pieces. And these are, I think they were used on a couple other sets that I have, but they're pretty cool. They have these little bar connections on them, and they just use these skeleton hand type pieces here to put these little planks on for them to walk over to the tower with, which I thought was pretty cool. And you can see where it comes out from. It is this little, another kind of tower over here, but this is on a rock. There's a door on this side and a rock path leading up to it. as you can see, there's no real good way to get inside there, so they actually just made the entire back removable. So you can just take that down. There's a little table in there with some bread and a candle, and then, yeah, you can see there's a pumpkin in there. There's a ladder that you can actually use to get up. Everything in this set does make pretty good sense with, like, characters can move around in it, if it was real life. But on the bottom, you can also see underneath, there's a little cave in there, which I believe, you can't take this off, but you can see there's a little cave where you can put some characters, say, the blacksmith, I think, is shown in the instructions, just in there with a pickaxe that we saw previously, and she could just lay down there. The building itself does use some pretty cool pieces. It uses these in brown, which I previously showed in gold. Those are those ones I haven't seen before. And they use these two different types of hinges on here. I can't take them off really, but those are two different types of hinges to hinge one onto either side of the bar and make a very nice window design. And that's shared on, I believe, 2 or 3 of the sides. And yeah, it has a cool roof at the top, which is also a pretty cool design with that kind of not fully completed square roof, but 2-section roof, I guess you could call it. I don't know the technical name for that, but it looks pretty cool. I showed it earlier, but finally you'd also get a light green fish as well as a normal silver fish. And once you complete all the sections of it, you can actually combine it together just by clicking those clips that you see on the side onto bars that are hidden in the bases of each of these. Well, yeah, this is what it looks like back together as you saw it from the start. I'm going to give it a quick little 360 here, or at least try my best to. You know, we'll just turn it because I don't have the means to do so, let's just say. The most high-tech 360 you'll ever see on a YouTube video. As you can see, I don't think I showed off all the backs together, so this is kind of a good time to show that. You can see where that cave is with the maybe copper ore or bronze ore, whatever you may wish. And yeah, it's just pretty cool if you don't knock off some of the blue pieces. But we'll continue this little wrap around here. Back to the front. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I quite like this set, and I think it's very interesting. Now, let's actually look at the instruction manual, because it does have some pretty cool stuff on the inside. And on the inside, it actually has some pretty cool information about Vikings. There's actually about 6 pages of this, but I'll try and keep it stable. You can pause and read that. We'll just keep going through this. If I get my light off of it, you can probably read it better. And there's some other stuff like old Viking ruins, or not ruins, runes, I can't even speak. And then a nice little Viking building there. And there's actually quite a few pages of this stuff. You can see careers and style of Vikings and all that. Try and get it off the different languages, but you can probably read that. And I'll show you some more of the pictures, which are pretty cool as well. Just some stuff like that. A nice helmet there, and some other stuff like a anvil as well, which is actually in the set. Some more stuff. Try and read that. And you can see a pretty cool background image as well, with some Viking symbols there as well. And then finally, we also have the designer of the set, or the original ideas creator. And you can see Brickhammer, which is where that hammer comes from. And that's a little Easter egg in the set you'll know only if you kind of read the inside of this. But yeah, there's some information on him. And you can see some more information here. Pretty cool. And then these are the original idea submissions as well, with the kind of the color palette of this. And then some of the other inspirations from this also going into the set, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that's almost it. There's also some stuff about the designers of the actual set. Here, I'll try and show you all the different stuff like that. And you can see the actual designers here, Isaac Snyder, and then Johanna Worm Jensen. I probably didn't say that right, but we'll pretend like I did. And then you get into the actual set, which, as you can see, where the main lot of the bags goes to that last section there. But yeah, pretty cool. Well, yeah, I do hope you enjoyed. This set, I believe, is retiring. It either did retire at the end of 2025, which I'm a bit late if it did, but it either did retire at the end of 2025, or it is retiring extremely soon. You can still find it in its stores. I mean, we did, so still a pretty cool little Lego set. I'm trying not to go too far so the QR code doesn't show, but pretty cool. I really like this set. It's one of my biggest now, and it's also, actually, it may be my second biggest set I actually have, but it's pretty cool. I do quite enjoy it. And that's even when I don't know much about Vikings besides King Canute and Vinland. But yeah, very cool. I quite like this, and I quite hope you enjoyed. So I shall see you next time, and you should definitely do what this end screen says. Goodbye.